Y'all want to know the real reason Big Jook got killed? He was lazy. Yeah, I said it.
2 years after Big Jook lost his life outside a Memphis restaurant, the internet went into overdrive when rapper BEO Lil Kenny got yanked out of a thick patch of bushes following a wild police chase across the city. Social media went wild instantly. Yo Gotti stayed completely quiet through all the noise, but people in the streets kept asking the same thing. Did they finally catch the person connected to it all? Let's talk about it. Around mid-January 2026, intense video clips started flooding Memphis pages online, showing police officers surrounding a neighborhood block on the westwood side of the city. Right in the middle of all the confusion was Kenneth Mason, better known in the rap scene as BEO Lil Kenny. According to early posts spreading across local pages, Lil Kenny allegedly led officers on a dangerous high-speed chase before jumping out of the car and trying to escape on foot. Things got even crazier when police reportedly found him hiding inside a row of bushes trying to stay out of sight. Within hours, screenshots, shaky phone videos, and arrest clips were all over Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Everywhere people looked, the same headline kept popping up. BEO Lil Kenny linked to Big Jook case. Some online users claimed he had secretly been identified months earlier and finally got tracked down after staying low for a long time. Others pushed even wilder rumors, claiming Yo Gotti and people connected to CMG had supposedly uncovered who was responsible for what happened to Big Jook, and the walls were suddenly closing in from every side. Almost overnight, a rapper who mostly stayed known in Memphis underground circles suddenly became the center of one of the biggest hip-hop conversations online. And to really understand why this moment hit the city so hard, you gotta understand how powerful Big Jook's name was in Memphis. When Memphis rapper Big Boogie spoke, on the moment he found out Big Jook had lost his life, he didn't try to water it down or make it sound easier than it was.
Where were you when you found out that Big Jook had got killed?
Man, I was on the way here.
The shock hit hard across Memphis. People were stopping in the middle of their day just trying to process what happened and what it could mean for the city moving forward. That's why the whole city paid attention when BEO Lil Kenny got pulled out of those bushes 2 years later. Folks online and in the streets instantly connected the dots. Kenny's music already lived deep in that Memphis street style, packed with lyrics about crews, rivals, pressure, and violence in the city. So once people started digging back through his songs, certain bars suddenly started getting way more attention than before. Online users quickly began calling some of the lyrics self-snitching, claiming a few lines sounded way too specific for comfort. Comment sections exploded with people pointing at certain details they believed only somebody closely connected would supposedly know about. One well-known Memphis voice covering the situation even said the streets had already been watching and piecing together rumors long before any arrest clips ever surfaced online.
If you know what I'm saying, look around, you'll see certain people saying certain things. And, you put two and two together. But yeah, condolences is what it is, though.
That was really what kept the entire BEO Lil Kenny rumor storm alive in Memphis. People across the city were connecting random pieces, watching interviews, replaying lyrics, and building their own theories from little details they noticed along the way. In Memphis, word travels fast, and once people think something adds up, the conversation can explode overnight. Then came the police chase, and that situation turned into a huge part of the story itself. The image of Lil Kenny getting pulled out of bushes after running from officers became the main symbol attached to the whole controversy. Memphis YouTube channels and blog pages kept replaying the clips non-stop, turning those bushes into a viral talking point. Some commentary pages even joked that he had been hiding in plain sight for 2 years before pressure finally caught up to him. A few viral clips flat out labeled it the day Big Jook's killer got dragged out the cut, while others pushed the idea that Yo Gotti had finally gotten answers behind the scenes. The rumors only grew louder because Yo Gotti stayed completely silent through all of it. Since Big Jook passed away, the CMG founder has largely stayed away from speaking publicly on camera, especially during 2024 and 2025. Most messages people connected to Gotti came through music lyrics, cryptic Instagram posts or comments, and from people around his circle. So when the Lil Kenny chase blew up online and Gotti still didn't say a word, many people in the street started treating that silence like it meant something bigger. According to viral reports, Lil Kenny was briefly held at Shelby County before being released just a few days later. Early rumors online claimed Lil Kenny had been taken into custody over allegations tied to what happened to Big Jook. while other posts said investigators were supposedly keeping him locked in as they worked on a much bigger case behind the scenes. The police chase footage, mugshots, and court clips kept getting reposted over and over with brand new captions every few hours. Each viral upload pushed the same narrative harder, convincing more people online that he was somehow tied to everything surrounding the case. Then came the moment that completely changed the conversation. Not long after getting released, Kenny finally spoke up about all the noise surrounding his name. In short video clips spreading across Memphis pages, he firmly denied being connected in any way to what happened to Big Jook. He explained how social media had turned him into the center of a massive storm almost overnight, and claimed he spent extra time being questioned because online rumors had gotten so loud. According to Kenny, the internet had started blurring the line between gossip, assumptions, and actual facts. One clip especially took off online after he called the internet a dangerous drug, and that quote instantly became a huge talking point across blogs and reaction channels. For people who already believed the rumors, his response looked like the long-awaited reaction after weeks of speculation. But for others, it was simply somebody pushing back against viral accusations that had gotten out of control. Either way, the entire conversation around Big Jook's case suddenly shifted in a direction almost nobody expected. Lil Kenny getting taken into custody happened almost exactly 2 years after Big Jook lost his life outside that Memphis restaurant back in January 2024. For people online already pushing theories connected to the Young Dolph situation, the timing felt almost unreal, like something straight out of a movie script. That's a huge reason why so many people quickly linked the two stories together. But to really understand why emotions still run so deep around Big Jook's name, you gotta go back to that afternoon in January 2024 when Anthony Big Jook Mims lost his life. What happened to Big Jook sent shockwaves through Memphis almost instantly. On January 13, 2024, around 4:15 p.m., chaos broke out outside Perignon's restaurant and event center on Winchester Road in the Hickory Hill area when multiple rounds suddenly rang through the scene. Reports said an off-duty officer nearby heard the shots and rushed toward the scene almost immediately. By the time police arrived, 2 men had already been hit during the attack. One of those men was Big Jook. According to reports, he was found inside a vehicle with multiple serious injuries from the incident. Emergency crews rushed him to St. Francis Hospital, but he sadly did not pull through. Another man was also hurt during the incident, but managed to survive. Once the news started spreading that night, the entire city locked in on the story because of how serious and unexpected the situation was. What made the tragedy hit even harder was where it happened. Big Jook reportedly wasn't out partying or involved in some late night club situation. He had attended a repast, a gathering held after a funeral service for a relative named Eric Govan. That detail alone made the story feel even heavier across Memphis. Even longtime street voices in the city reportedly said the situation felt shocking because this wasn't some random argument on a corner or chaos spilling out of a nightclub. It happened in broad daylight outside a public gathering, and that made the entire case feel even more intense from the very beginning. What made the situation even more unsettling was how planned out it appeared from the very beginning. Everything unfolded while family and friends were already mourning at a repast, which made the whole scene feel even more heartless to people across Memphis. Witnesses reportedly said the people involved sped away in a white Ford Explorer with black wheels, dark tinted windows, and no visible license plates. From the very beginning, investigators and people online believed the attack appeared targeted, and that word carried serious weight because Big Jook was far from an unknown name in the city. At 47 years old, Big Jook held a major role inside CMG, the label built by his younger brother Yo Gotti. Officially, he was known as an executive, but many people in Memphis viewed him as much more than that. He reportedly had strong connection throughout the city and played a huge part in helping CMG operate behind the scenes. As more details from the autopsy later became public, the case only grew more intense. Reports described multiple firearm-related injuries, including wounds to the head and neck. The entire attack looked organized, quick, and carefully carried out, leaving very few answers behind in the early stages of the investigation. Then people started paying close attention to Big Jook's final Instagram post, which he uploaded just 1 day before everything happened. The post read though, "They don't want to face you, they want to snake you. Stay alert to stay alive, watch your back at all times." That message quickly spread everywhere online, because many felt the words sounded chilling after what happened. One of the strongest public reactions about the security around Big Jook that day later came from Memphis figure Hernandez Govan, who openly questioned whether bigger precautions should have been taken before the tragedy happened.
All I want to say is it was expected because I feel like I wasn't expecting it to happen because the Jook that I know, I thought Jook would have been moving better, you know.
That whole conversation about Big Jook allegedly having the wrong security around him at the wrong time quickly became one of the biggest topics people in Memphis couldn't stop talking about after the incident.
But to Jook's defense, you know, he had some security out there with him, but he ain't had the right people. Because when them pulled up, Jook had a officer standing right there with him with 100 shots, and the officer took out running. You know what I'm saying? So he had the wrong person.
People kept debating how something that serious could happen in broad daylight at a public gathering. When the funeral happened, police presence was heavy everywhere. Yo Gotti mostly stayed silent through it all, posting a few emotional and cryptic tributes online, but outside of that, very little was publicly said. Then the months kept passing, then a full year, then another. By August 2025, reports from Commercial Appeal showed Memphis police still had no publicly named suspects connected to the case more than 18 months later. Investigators reportedly hadn't connected the White Ford Explorer to any arrests, and surveillance footage still hadn't produced clear answers. The case stayed open, but publicly, everything seemed quiet. In a city as deeply connected to its rap culture and street politics as Memphis, that silence started frustrating a lot of people. Questions kept growing louder online and in the streets. The biggest question floating around Memphis was the same one people always ask after a major unsolved case. Who would have wanted something like this to happen to Big Jook? For many people online, the conversation instantly shifted back to Young Dolph, the alleged $100,000 plot rumors, and courtroom testimony that had already connected Big Jook's name to discussions surrounding what happened to Dolph years earlier. That's why speculation around Big Jook never really disappeared. To understand how deep those rumors go, you have to go back to November 17, 2021. That afternoon, Memphis rapper Adolph Thornton Jr., known worldwide as Young Dolph, stopped at Makeda's homemade butter cookies on Airways Boulevard to buy cookies. According to investigators, two armed men jumped out of a white Mercedes-Benz and started unloading dozens of rounds with multiple weapons. Dolph lost his life at the scene. The first videos and photos that surfaced online captured the panic and heartbreak spreading through Memphis the moment the news broke, and the city hasn't looked at things the same since.
Bro, they didn't kill Young Dolph, bro. What the Bro, ain't no way these folks just killed Dolph. Ain't no way these folks just straight came and ran down on Dolph. Dead. I figured it. That's what I'm saying. Damn. Bro, no. These folks just straight kill Young Dolph.
What pushed the Young Dolph case from a heartbreaking tragedy into a massive industry-shaking courtroom story was the testimony that surfaced during the late 2024 trial. One of the individuals accused in the case, Cornelius Smith, took the stand and explained how prosecutors said the attack was allegedly planned and carried out. During testimony, Smith alleged that Big Jook played a central role in arranging the hit, tying the situation to years of tension, disrespect, rap diss records, and ongoing issues connected to CMG and Paper Route Empire. According to Smith's courtroom statements, the alleged pay-for-hire plot reportedly involved a $100,000 payout. He claimed the money was supposed to be split between several people allegedly connected to the plan, with portions discussed for himself, Justin Straight Drop Johnson, and alleged middleman Hernandez Govan. The testimony immediately exploded online because it seemed to confirm rumors and street theories Memphis had been discussing for years. Smith also claimed in court that he and Johnson were aware there was money connected to targeting Dolph. According to his testimony, investigators believe the original plan may have involved catching Dolph during the annual turkey giveaway event he was known for hosting in Memphis, but Smith alleged that once Dolph's vehicle was spotted outside Makeda's bakery, everything suddenly changed. According to the courtroom testimony, the suspects allegedly pulled up to the location, opened fire, and fled the scene shortly afterward. Smith further claimed that later that night, coded conversations and signals were allegedly used during a FaceTime call to confirm the incident had gone down. Those details quickly became some of the most talked about moments from the trial because of how direct and disturbing people felt the testimony sounded. The financial side of the testimony also shocked many people following the case. Smith claimed he had been promised life-changing money but allegedly received only a tiny amount before later getting arrested.
I know he got one because he spoke. He said the day that he killed Dolph, he was trying to earn some money to get a birthday present or something. You know, which is some of the craziest you know, for you to say that, for you to go take another man's life or an artist that's done help the city and, you know, and give out turkeys every year because you're trying to get your daughter a birthday present.
In court, he reportedly said he committed the crime while trying to provide for his daughter on her birthday, a statement that triggered strong reactions online and across Memphis media discussions. Hernandez Govan later publicly reacted to parts of the testimony as well, saying the entire situation sounded unbelievable from every angle.
Man, you should be able to go charge a bitch for a birthday gift. Yeah, that was wild, you know, so that should give...
It taught me a lot about Memphis right there.
Yeah,
man.
that should give people a better idea of what kind of person that we talking about here.
Hernandez Govan also publicly spoke about how the alleged $100,000 could have supposedly moved through the streets, and that part of the story grabbed attention fast across Memphis blogs and courtroom breakdowns.
If it was $100,000 on the table that I'm not aware of, then yeah, I could see, bro, you know what I'm saying, going with a move.
Another major rumor that kept spreading online was the claim that Big Jook allegedly distanced himself from the people involved afterward, a theory that became one of the biggest talking points connected to the entire case.
Send him a letter with $500, I think.
Oh, Jook was a rotten motherfucker. He was a rotten motherfucker. So them hadn't even talked to Jook before. They just heard it was a $100,000 hit.
No, they talked to him on the phone on FaceTime a few times through a middleman, and I think they met him one or two times.
They met him a few times, talked to him, and then he ghost him like that?
Yep. He said it's too high, I'll pay you when it cool down. Never paid him.
The legal fallout ended up changing Memphis rap forever. In September 2024, Justin Straight Drop Johnson was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Hernandez Govan, however, beat his case and walked away free, but through every hearing, interview, and courtroom recap, one name kept getting mentioned over and over again: Big Jook. Even though Big Jook was never formally charged, never indicted, and never got the opportunity to publicly defend himself in court, his name still became closely linked to the prosecution's narrative surrounding what happened to Dolph. Once those allegations became public, many people in the street started believing retaliation eventually came back around. And to really understand why that theory spread so heavily, you gotta understand just how deep the tension between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph had become over the years. The tension between Yo Gotti's side and Young Dolph didn't suddenly appear in 2021. A lot of people traced the problems back to around 2014, when Dolph publicly turned down a deal connected to CMG and fully stood behind building Paper Route Empire as an independent movement. From there, the rivalry kept getting louder through the same stages many rap feuds go through: sneak dices, direct lyrics, social media tension, and songs like Play With Yo Bitch, where Dolph openly called Gotti out by name. Artists connected to CMG, including Black Youngsta, also became part of the back and forth energy surrounding the situation. Over time, the tension started feeling bigger than music alone. In February 2017, Dolph's SUV was struck by a massive number of rounds in Charlotte, North Carolina, but reports said the armored vehicle helped him make it out alive. Then later that same year, in September 2017, Dolph was seriously hurt during another violent incident outside a store in Hollywood. Each violent incident added more attention to the ongoing rivalry and pushed public speculation even further. By the time Dolph lost his life at Makeda's bakery in 2021, many people in Memphis already knew the long history connected to both sides. They knew about the years of tension, the diss records, and the public shots thrown back and forth through music and interviews. So when Cornelius Smith testified in 2024 and claimed Big Jook allegedly put money behind the hit, many online immediately felt like the missing pieces suddenly connected together. For some people following the case, it no longer looked like just another rap feud that spiraled out of control. Instead, prosecutors described it as an organized pay-for-hire plot connected to larger street and gang-related conflicts that Memphis police had reportedly been tracking for years. That's why when Big Jook lost his life in January 2024, a lot of people in Memphis immediately started putting together their own theories before police even made public statements. To many online, what happened in Hickory Hills seemed to match a pattern people recognized from other major cases. A public location, a targeted move, multiple people involved, a fast getaway, and barely any answers afterward. Because of the allegations and courtroom testimony already tied to Dolph's case, many people quickly connected the situations together. The retaliation theory only grew louder once more. Street voices and Memphis commentators started speaking on it publicly. Even when some people framed their comments as criticism about street violence overall, the message still spread fast online. One Memphis figure especially went viral after arguing that the violence surrounding these situations kept escalating because earlier conflicts and alleged plans never truly ended.
Y'all want to know the real reason Big Jook got killed? He was lazy. Yeah, I said it. Lazy. He ain't finished the job, man. You know, you can't just get rid of one piece and not get rid of the rest of the pieces. Yeah, and that's not it. He seen it coming. It's other stuff that happened here recently.
As harsh as some of those comments sounded, they reflected the way many people in the city believe street conflicts can continue for years once lives are lost. A lot of online discussions pushed the idea that cycles of retaliation and payback were driving the tension from both sides. Hernandez Govan also spoke publicly about how little trust exists in street situations, saying that even with security or people around you, many believe you ultimately have to depend on yourself above everybody else.
You know, you don't depend on no. And then, you know, you should have had your own too. You know, you ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't give how long you been security or whatever the case may be. Ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
That was the atmosphere surrounding Memphis when the BEO Lil Kenny situation exploded in January 2026. At that point, Memphis YouTube channels, blogs, and street commentators were already heavily focused on everything connected to the Young Dolph and Big Jook cases. People online were constantly searching for clues, suspects, and hidden meanings tied to the violence surrounding both stories. So when someone got pulled out of bushes after a dramatic police chase in Memphis, social media instantly viewed it through that same lens. Lil Kenny just happened to fit a narrative that made speculation spread even faster. His music already contained references to Memphis neighborhoods, street politics, rivalries, and violence, so online users immediately started dissecting his lyrics for possible connections. Viral channels began pulling bars from older songs and matching them up with public details surrounding what happened to Big Jook, and once those clips started spreading, the conversation exploded everywhere. At the same time, people also started digging through Kenny's old social media activity. Archived Instagram posts, freestyle clips, and videos where he talked tough or mocked rivals suddenly got reposted nonstop. Before long, internet detectives were building entire timelines around his online presence and trying to connect every little detail together. Online rumors kept pushing the idea that Lil Kenny had been comfortable in the bushes, almost like people believed he had spent the time after Big Jook passed away moving around freely in plain sight until pressure finally caught up to him. In the eyes of social media and the rumor mill, some people treated him like he was the person Yo Gotti's side had supposedly been searching for ever since what happened to Big Jook. And once again, Yo Gotti staying mostly silent only made the theories grow louder. Outside of a few cryptic posts and indirect messages people tried to decode online, there was never much public comment from Gotti himself. But for viewers already convinced retaliation had happened, that silence wasn't viewed as ignoring the rumors. They saw it as calculated patience. Memphis internet culture took over from there, with blogs, reaction channels, and street commentators building entire narratives from small details and assumptions. But when you separate online speculation from official records, the documented facts tell a different story. According to reports from Memphis news outlets, B.O. Lil Kenny really was pulled out of bushes by police after a chase in January 2026. The pursuit happened, the foot chase happened, the arrest happened. Those parts were all confirmed. What official reports did not confirm, however, was any direct connection between that arrest and what happened to Big Jook. Based on publicly reported charges at the time, Kenny was reportedly booked on offenses tied to evading arrest, reckless driving, vehicle window tint violations under Tennessee law, and possible possession-related charges. Despite all the viral theories online, mainstream reporting did not publicly tie those charges to the Big Jook homicide investigation. There were no first-degree charges filed against BEO Lil Kenny, no homicide indictment, and no official mention of the Big Jook investigation anywhere in the public documents tied to his arrest. Reports showed he was briefly held at Shelby County before being released just a few days later. Something many people pointed out would be extremely unlikely if authorities had actually taken him in as a suspect in a major unsolved case. That reality started making some of the online theories fall apart. In serious homicide investigations, especially high-profile cases under heavy public attention, suspects usually are not released within 48 hours without major developments. Once Kenny got out, he directly responded to the speculation surrounding his name. In videos spreading online, he claimed investigators questioned him longer because social media chatter had gotten so intense and because rumors about him were circulating everywhere across Memphis pages and blogs. Kenny also clearly denied having anything to do with what happened to Big Jook. He said he wasn't trying to gain attention from the situation and criticized how quickly internet gossip can turn assumptions into something people start treating like facts. That's when he made the now viral comment calling the internet a dangerous drug in Laxton, a quote that spread across social media almost instantly. His public response also matched the official status of the investigation at the time. According to reporting from the Commercial Appeal in August 2025, Memphis Police Department officials were still publicly saying they had no named suspects connected to what happened to Big Jook. More than 18 months after what happened in Hickory Hill, Big Jook's case was still officially unsolved. There had been no arrests publicly tied to the homicide, no named suspects announced by investigators, and no grand jury indictment connected to the case. Despite all the viral rumors online, no major Memphis news outlet, including Fox 13, Action News 5, or the Commercial Appeal, ever reported BEO Lil Kenny being arrested or charged in connection to what happened to Big Jook. That detail changed how a lot of people started looking at the situation. The self-snitching lyrics theory that spread all over social media also starts looking a lot weaker when examined closely. Memphis rap has always been filled with aggressive street talk, violent imagery, references to rivalries, and neighborhood politics. Because of that, people often take lyrics and try to match them to real-life events, even when the connections are loose or completely unproven. A lot of the bars internet users claimed sounded too specific actually turned out to reference details that were already public knowledge or common themes heard across Memphis street music. Under any real investigative standard, none of those lyrics publicly amounted to an actual confession or direct evidence tied to the homicide investigation. Even the image of Lil Kenny getting pulled out of bushes after the police chase became more symbolic online than factual. Social media turned those clips into a storyline, but hiding after jumping out of a vehicle during a chase is something suspects commonly do in all kinds of cases. The bushes themselves didn't establish any verified connection to what happened to Big Jook. The same goes for the viral Yo Gotti found him narrative that spread across blogs and YouTube channels. There has been no publicly verified evidence showing Yo Gotti personally connected Lil Kenny to what happened to his brother. Gotti has never publicly accused Kenny, and CMG never released any official statement naming him as a suspect. That found him storyline became popular because online speculation pushed it hard, not because official facts confirmed it. In the end, the internet built a much bigger story around the arrest than what investigators publicly documented. Even inside Memphis, people had already started pushing back against the rumors before Lil Kenny ever spoke publicly himself. One post that spread heavily online came from someone claiming they had talked directly with Kenny, and they flat out called the entire connection fake news. That added even more debate to a story already packed with speculation, theories, and non-stop internet commentary. When you break everything down to the confirmed facts, the situation is actually pretty clear. Police have not publicly identified anyone as being responsible for what happened to Big Jook. Yo Gotti also has never publicly named a suspect connected to his brother's passing. BO Lil Kenny was arrested in January 2026, but the reported charges were tied to traffic violations, evading police, and related offenses, not homicide charges connected to Big Jook's case. He was released only days later, publicly denied the rumors, and as of the latest reports, Memphis police still list the investigation as open, with no named suspects or confirmed breakthroughs. The whole killer breaks silence after Yo Gotti found him narrative really came from the viral Memphis rumor machine more than confirmed facts. It was a mix of real police chase footage, real Memphis rap culture, real emotions surrounding what happened to Big Jook, and a city still searching for answers investigators still haven't publicly provided. One thing that is confirmed is that a man lost his life in broad daylight outside a Memphis restaurant in January 2024, and the impact of that tragedy still hangs over the city today. More than 2 years later, Big Jook's family is still waiting for real answers. Memphis police have not officially closed the case, and no publicly confirmed suspect has been identified by authorities. Until investigators announce something concrete, the BEO Lil Kenny situation remains exactly where it started, surrounded by internet theories, street speculation, and viral conversations that moved way faster than verified facts ever did. If you made it this far, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with somebody following the case. Drop your thoughts in the comments too. Do you think social media helps solve cases, or does it make the truth harder to find?